Okay, so in the previous video itself, right, we actually mentioned about how digestion happens in the mouth as well as the stomach. Okay, and of course the esophagus is there to connect them, but inside the esophagus there's no digestion at all. Okay, so in this next video, we're actually going to focus on the functions of enzymes inside the small intestine. We're going to talk a bit about how the large intestine come into play. Okay, and we also link it to how the associated organs play a role as well. Yeah, so let's go on to this second part. Now, the small intestine is not an easy concept to understand because there's a lot of enzymes inside and there's a lot of different chemicals in it. So do this take some time to understand how this process actually happens about. First and foremost, just to recap, the small intestine consists of a lot of different parts. There's the duodenum at the front, jejunum in the middle, as well as the ileum at the end. Now, food enters the duodenum and will stimulate the release of certain chemicals. The first and foremost is bile. Bile is a chemical that's released. Bile is a chemical that's actually stored within the gallbladder. It is stored in the gallbladder, but it's not produced by the gallbladder. The one that produces the gallbladder is the liver. The one that produces the bile is the liver. So liver is one that secretes bile. Okay, so just to take note, it's not the gallbladder that releases bile. Okay, it stores it and you release it out, but it's not the one that produces the bile. At the same time, it actually stimulates the pancreatic juice to be released out by the pancreas. If you recall this structure here that looks like a leaf, is the pancreas. At the same time, the small intestine will also release its own intestinal juice, and all these juices are actually alkaline in nature, which means that they help to do a few things. Number one, they actually neutralize the acid that comes down from the stomach. So remember the food that is in the stomach, right? So it didn't mix with hydrochloric acid. So when it passes down, it has to be neutralized first. Second, it actually denatures pepsin. If you recall, pepsin is found in stomach. Okay, so this is the enzyme that's used in the stomach to digest protein, and it has an optimum pH of about 3. Okay, so with that, when you move it into an alkaline condition like this, right, in the small intestine, these enzymes will actually get denatured. Last but not least, this will ensure that you provide an optimum alkaline pH for the enzymes inside the small intestine to actually function. So you realize that while the mouth is neutral, the stomach is acidic, the small intestine is actually alkaline. Now, what makes the small intestine so unique is that actually all 3 nutrients can be digested within the small intestine, and this with the help of the associated organs. So if you look at the associated organs, right, you realize that they are all connected somehow to the small intestine. The gallbladder has a tube that's connected to the small intestine. The pancreas also has one. Okay, so what exactly happens? Since all 3 nutrients is digested in the small intestine, right, let's talk about them one by one. Let's first talk about fat digestion. Because if you realize, right, it only happens in the small intestine. Okay, so fat digestion only happens inside the small intestine, but not in the mouth, neither does it happen in the stomach. Okay, but protein digestion can happen in the stomach as well. Carbohydrate digestion, for the case of starch, happens in the mouth. So what happens is that the bile that was stored and released by the gallbladder, right, actually helps to do this process called emulsification. You see that the bile actually helps to emulsify fats into tiny fat droplets. So what exactly does it look like? So first and foremost, this is how stomach bile looks like. Okay, not stomach bile, bile in general. This is how bile looks like. It's a yellow liquid. It has a very, very strong smell. Okay, so what it does is, if there's fat molecules, right, for instance, the one that you see over here. Okay, let's say that this is the fat molecule. Okay, the whole big chunk of the yellow circle over here. What the bile does, right, is actually how to break it into smaller structures over here. Now, as you learn in bio, the smaller the substance, the higher the surface area to volume ratio. And what's the purpose of doing this? Is to help to speed up, okay, for the speeding up of digestion of fats by lipases. So basically, I'm saying that with bile, it actually helps to break the entire fats into smaller droplets, and these smaller droplets can then go through digestion. So the digestion actually requires the use of enzymes, which are what I call the pancreatic lipase as well as the intestinal lipase. Okay, you might be wondering why we can't just call it lipase, because we need to know where they actually come from. This came from the pancreas, and this came from the small intestine. So what happens is, once this tiny fat droplet encounter the enzyme, right, they will actually be digested. So this was the animation I showed you previously. Okay? With the help of the enzyme, previously the fat molecule cannot be absorbed into the cell because of the partially permeable membrane. But now once you have broken it down, actually the individual substance, which is the fatty acid as well as the glycerol, cannot enter into the plasma membrane through the partially permeable membrane. Okay? So with the help of these two enzymes, we give you the particular smaller nutrients. Do take note at this point in time that emulsification is not a chemical digestion. Okay? To clarify, emulsification is not a chemical digestion, which means that bulk is not considered an enzyme. So what exactly is emulsification? Just think of it as an example in this manner. Assuming that this is fats, okay, a very large chunk of fats, maybe say a lot of oil. When you go through emulsification, right, it will still be fats, but it's just that it's smaller molecules of fats. So this is still fats. Okay? Because there's no change in the nature of the chemical, it's from fat molecules, it's still a fat molecule, it's not considered a chemical digestion. What is considered a chemical digestion is if you use the help of enzymes, which is lipase, you break it apart into fatty acid as well as glycerol. Now this itself is a form of digestion because of chemical digestion, because the enzyme actually helps to break apart the entire structure. So just take note, emulsification is not a form of digestion. At the same time, in the small intestine, there's also protein digestion. But this time around, the enzyme that is used in the small intestine is a bit different. It's called trypsin. Okay, if you take note just now, this is compared to the enzyme in the stomach. Okay, which is actually called pepsin. Okay, so, but both of them have the same function. They are proteases. They will digest proteins into polypeptide. Afterwards, the polypeptides will be further digested by what I call peptidase, because it's called polypeptide, right? So the enzyme actually takes the root word from the back, the peptide, and end the ASE. It is to form amino acids. And with that, your protein will be digested fully into a smaller substance. Then, for carbohydrate digestion. For carbohydrate digestion, in the small intestine, there's also its own amylase. But this amylase is called pancreatic amylase because it came from the pancreas. You compare this as to what you learn in the mouth, okay, which is what I call the salivary amylase. That's why there's a need for us to know the name, because salivary amylase actually function best at optimum pH of say 7, whereas this particular pancreatic amylase, because in the small intestine, right, it functions better in alkaline condition. These are the equations that you need in your notes itself. Okay, so to understand which one is the substrate, these are always the substrate. Okay, the enzymes are the one that we write on the arrow because it's to show what exactly is the enzyme trying to do, and eventually the product will be formed at the end. Okay, so this is what happens for carbohydrate digestion. Of course, not forgetting that there's also another 2 more carbohydrates that's in the entire series of disaccharides. There's also lactose and sucrose. So respectively, they will have their own enzymes, which is lactase and sucrase, to break them apart into small substances. Now, when it comes to the large intestine, right, the good news is that no digestion actually happens in the large intestine. So the large intestine mainly is for the absorption of water and mineral salts. But I just want to clarify at this point in time that there's always a misconception to say that large intestine is the one that absorbs most of the thing. But I need to clarify that, however, most of the water is actually absorbed by the small intestine, not by the large intestine. The only difference is that the large intestine can only absorb. It cannot digest, but small intestine can actually still digest. Alright, so undigested food will eventually be passed into the large intestine, okay, whereby water is being absorbed and mineral salts are being absorbed back into the body, and eventually be stored temporarily in the rectum, and then it will be passed out as feces at the end through the process of digestion. Alright, and this actually helps us to sum up everything that we have learned from the start, from the mouth all the way until the large intestine. And there's a lot of things to think of. So what I would recommend for you to do, right, if you go to the back of your notes, you realize that there's this practice for you to summarize all the concepts that you have learned so far. You have to make sure that we are able to follow up with everything that is going on in these 2 videos. Okay, let's do a quick summary for one example first, then you will be the one to continue for the rest of it. Yeah, so in the mouth, there's a particular enzyme. Okay, let's try to recall what exactly is the name of the enzyme. Inside the saliva, there's your salivary amylase. Now, salivary amylase is supposed to act on a certain kind of substrate because it's an enzyme, and substrate is actually called starch. The good thing about digestion in the human digestive system is that digestion happens step by step, which means that if you have starch here, right, the amylase will break it into a slightly smaller one before it gets broken out into the smallest possible one, which is glucose. So in this case, you actually break it down into maltose. And that's the example they have for mouth. In the mouth, it has a certain pH. Just go and fill it in. Okay, so based on your notes. In the esophagus, there's no enzyme, there's no substrate, as well as there's no product. Okay, and the pH is also not something that's that important to you. Can you do the rest for the similar, the remaining 3 rows? Okay, and try to list down what are some of the enzymes. For small intestine itself, right, you want to make your notes tidier by writing down in terms of columns. So for example, for fats, what happens? For carbo, what happens? For proteins, what happens? So you'll make your entire notes more organized. Okay. Alright, so there's going to be a lot of enzymes in the small intestine, so it's good for you to actually categorize them. Right, and with that, we have come to the end of the entire digestive canal. So we are done with the entire digestive process. But what happens after food is being digested? And that is something we'll explore in the next video. Alright, if not, that's all for today.